Here's how to quickly and definitively refute the theory of evolution. It's simply a fact that life cannot exist without proteins. Proteins are essential to every cell's function and existence. However, proteins require DNA to be formed. That's because proteins are chains of specifically sequenced amino acids. Amino acids must link up in the precise sequence for a protein to form. The precise sequence of amino acids, which is essential to protein formation, is itself determined by the precise arrangement of the bases in the DNA molecule. That means that the precise arrangement of the bases in the DNA molecule constitutes the code for the precise arrangement of amino acids in a chain, and the precise amino acid arrangement in a chain is itself necessary for protein formation. Therefore, to put it simply, to have life, you must have DNA. A protein cannot form without it. But DNA by itself is useless. It can't do anything. DNA doesn't go anywhere or do anything productive without already existing proteins. That's because in order for DNA to be transcribed and utilized in the cell, which is essential to protein formation and life, DNA requires already existing proteins. DNA also cannot even replicate, that is, make a copy of itself, without already existing proteins. Think about that. It means that if you began with DNA but without proteins, you could never get to proteins or life, because DNA needs already existing proteins to even function or form proteins. And you couldn't start with proteins, which are devoid of DNA, because proteins can only be formed from the instructions and information in DNA. That proves that both DNA and proteins, not to mention the many other molecular machines that enable them to interact, must have been present from the beginning of life. One could not have evolved into the other because they require one another for sustenance and utility. They must have been and were created simultaneously. Evolution is false. Charles Darwin, the man who came up with the, quote, theory of evolution, admitted, quote, if it could be demonstrated that any complex organ existed which could not possibly have been formed by numerous successive slight modifications, my theory would absolutely break down, end quote. We've just discussed a fact which proves, without any doubt, that such a structure exists. There are countless other examples. They are ubiquitous in creation. Evolution is a completely unscientific hoax and fairy tale. It's simply a false religious worldview that has been imposed upon the masses through the education system and by means of lies and hoaxes such as the Piltdown Man. True science, such as the fact that we've just discussed, refutes it, and that is clear to those who actually want the truth. But that's the key, isn't it? Most people don't want the truth. In fact, only a very spiritually darkened generation could have come to embrace evolution and failed to perceive the utter stupidity and illogic inherent in the idea at every turn. And the reason that so many colleges and universities decide to swiftly silence, remove, or intimidate scientists who simply look into the arguments against evolution and begin to speak about them is that the evolution hoax cannot withstand honest scrutiny. For a very detailed discussion of DNA and how it completely refutes evolution, see our video, Information Proves God. For an overview of related matters, see our video, Creation and Miracles, the Final Edition. For many powerful examples of how the amazing capabilities of God's creatures demolish the idea of evolution, see the videos, Incredible Creatures That Defy Evolution. They are available on YouTube and from our website, vaticancatholic.com. For a complete refutation of evolution from all aspects of science, written by a scientist with a PhD from MIT, see the book In the Beginning by Dr. Walt Brown. That book shows how Earth's defining geological characteristics were the result of the global flood recorded in the book of Genesis. You will find links to those materials in the description of this video.